Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 834, written by Visual Tumbleweed 24, The Mythical Ring of Power. This happened a year or so back when my husband and I were living in a rental house throughout the notable world event. A multitude of weird things happened to us there. Tons of things happened in the 18 months that we were renting the house, some of which I've written about in other threads, but this definitely feels the most glitchy. I decided to take off my jewelry one day whilst cleaning the house. I was walking into the bedroom to put my ring in its box on the bedside table, and as I was walking through the door, it dropped out of my hand to the floor. As soon as the thing hit the carpet, it was gone, despite the fact that it landed on the soft carpet and settled in pretty much the exact place that it fell. It felt like as soon as I blinked, it had gone. I looked everywhere, under all the furniture, across every inch of the bedroom, even checking other rooms despite knowing there was no way it had gone that far. After searching for a while, I decided to go back to cleaning, hoping that I would find it along the way and all would be well. I cleaned the house from top to bottom that day, and I could safely say that the ring had completely disappeared. I was disappointed, but there was little that could be done. About 2 months later, we were preparing to move out, and I was doing the final clean, doing pretty much the same routine every week. I went into a sort of robot mode, moving around the house methodically before getting to the bedroom. Furniture from the whole house was already moved out a couple days prior. I was finishing the clean before handing the keys back to the landlord. As soon as I walked through the door, something fell, seemingly out of the sky, and bumped me on the nose before falling on the floor and settling on the carpet. It was the ring, back in the exact spot it had fallen 2 months prior, as though it was mere seconds ago that I had dropped it. I was so perplexed at the time that I picked up the ring and carried on cleaning, convinced that it must have been tangled in my cloth or something. However, the more I talk and think about it, the more I feel like this was a true glitch in the Matrix. Although the rational side of me, my husband mostly, says that there has to be some sort of reasonable explanation. Case notes for file 834, The Mythical Ring of Power. Yeah, this ring was completely out of phase with all of reality. It was still bound by gravity, or that information simply didn't exist and the universe restored it in that given moment as soon as you entered that room, and it fell as it was going to initially, or as it did, because you did say it hit the carpet, so it rewinded time a bit. But it's not really time. I think the information was stored in the universe of where it was supposed to be 3 or 4 seconds prior to what you saw, and then just as you were leaving the home, for probably the last time you'd ever enter that room, it reappeared. It was like some developer or GM in the real world clicked a button and said, okay, yeah, they're leaving now, this is where the ring was 3 or 4 seconds before, initiate. It just pops in from information that was stored prior. That makes a lot of sense to me. Interesting. So in a nutshell, the ring did fall. It did go on the carpet. For some unknown reason, it glitched out and de-rendered. And then, just before you left, the final time, it was made to reappear. I wonder why. Why would anyone care? Why would the developers care if these are entities taking the item? Why do they care that you have the ring back? Do they feel some sort of obligation? Moral obligation? Case file number 835, written by DwelveDeeper. The Case of Missing Sunglasses. This happened yesterday and today as well. This morning I was in bed. My alarm went off and I hit snooze. I reached for my e-cig by my bed for that nicotine rush. I always leave it in the same spot, but I couldn't find it. Granted, I was still a bit groggy. I didn't think too much about it and went back to sleep until the snooze alarm went off again. Turned on my lamp, searched again for it. I thought I saw it for a second. Gave a double take and it wasn't there. I thought it was a shadow or something that tricked my mind. I got out of bed, searched again under and around my bed. Couldn't find it. Plugged in my phone and got a new one from my desk. They're the disposable kind. Got ready for the morning, showered and all of that. When I was heading out of my room, I grabbed my charging phone and literally right next to it was my e-cig. I had the new one in my hand, so I knew I didn't get them mixed up. Whatever, weird coincidence, I guess. But yesterday, I was wearing a lot of blue, so I wanted to wear my blue aviators. I have aviators in almost every color: blue, black, red, green, yellow, and chrome. All of them fit nicely in the cases of the door pocket. Think of my car. Yesterday I couldn't find them and noticed the case was missing. I ran back inside the house and searched around, trying to figure out why or when I would have taken them out, because that's literally something I never do. I couldn't find them. I didn't think too much about it, and knowing myself, I'd find them in a random spot inside the house. But this morning, I was wearing white, black, and red, so I wanted to wear my red aviators. Grabbed the case from the door pocket thing, and noticed that the pocket was full with all my sunglass cases. My blue ones were there. Yesterday, I literally checked every single case in the door pocket. I labeled the cases because I have so many of them. Went through each of them just in case I mixed them up somehow. I really like to match my fit with sunglasses. Not the craziest thing, but pretty weird double coincidences. Case notes for file 835. The case of missing sunglasses. So many disappearing object phenomena lately, and I get the impression it has to be one or the other. It's some sort of informational buffer system that's recreating it after phasing out the item for some reason. It might just be the server isn't stable, at least our universe. The other option is some sort of trickster entity or some out-of-phase being, which I guess is the same thing. Maybe these out-of-phase beings are just the echoes that we're talking about, ghosts as most would describe it, and they're able to de-render objects or just phase them into their dimension, which is just, it's close to ours, but it's not exactly the same. So there's some bleed through if they concentrate, I guess. And it really does make some sense to me. If echoes are out there and they're out of phase with us, then presumably they could bring matter into that phased area, into the same wavelength as them. They're able to interact sometimes with us, so they're able to cross over in that dimensional sense. Why not bring something back with them? Bonus file, written by Representative Win965. Mischievous dad pranks us from the afterlife. So, my dad died 5 years ago. It was a freak car accident while he and my older brother were driving home from some sports events they'd gone to. My dad was larger than life in every sense of the word. He was 6 foot 8 inches tall, covered in tattoos, and he had this laugh that I swear you could hear across the country. He and his twin brother, they were identical, played so many pranks on us while growing up that we just sort of got used to it. That has not changed. Only now, dear dad has the final laugh. The night of his funeral, my uncle and I were sitting together in the backyard. Uncle was telling stories about dad and some of their wild teenage years, and I remember so badly wanting to hug my dad. All of a sudden, my uncle and I hear the unmistakable sound of my dad laughing, followed by the back door slamming shut. Uncle and I stared at each other wide-eyed and then burst into laughter, because yeah, that's my dad for you. The door, in case you're wondering, turned out to be locked from the inside. Uncle and I were the only ones home at the time outside of my Rottweiler, Beast, who cannot, to our knowledge, lock deadbolts. And it took us an hour for us to find the spare key. My dad liked to move our spare key around because it makes it harder for robbers to find. He's continued to prank us over the years. Our keys go missing, your phone will start blaring his favorite song at 3 a.m. out of nowhere, or you'll wake up to the sound of my dog growling that distinctive rowdy rumble that he only ever used while playing with my dad. His laughter is always heard, as well as the scent of Old Spice, his favorite cologne. We miss him every day, but he always manages to remind us that he gets the last laugh nowadays.